Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock, let's go over the market and figure out what is happening to the stock, to Tesla, to the market really in general, and really just, well, what we can expect moving forward. So with that being said and done, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section is live on YouTube. The link is down below. For just $2.99 a month, you get access to all my intraday thoughts, posts, updates, etc. on Tesla every single day the stock is trading. So if that's something that interests you, then definitely check it out for just $3 a month. But jumping right into it, Tesla closing the day down about 1.4%, closing at just shy of $185 per share, which compared to the market being pretty flat, Tesla with a slight underperformance. Now, what does this mean moving forward? So yesterday we obviously had a massive green day, right? Huge candle, huge green day, good volume. And today we have selling pressure on pretty low volume, which is a good sign to see the fact that we have selling pressure on a lower volume day than a massive green candle, which is good. That means the buyers are overall the buyers are still overwhelming the sellers, at least in my opinion, when you have these kind of, volume candles on such, green and red days respectively. So that's a good sign, in my opinion, for the bulls. Now, what does this really mean though? Like, is Tesla going to crash from here, or do we actually do rocket to $200 per share? Well, yesterday, everyone was bullish. Everyone, saw the candle yesterday. Everyone was screaming for 200 pretty much today. Obviously, we pretty much said kind of not really the opposite yesterday, but we said, some caution is needed. Why? Well, because my favorite indicator that, again, love it or hate it, it works. It simply just works. And like I said yesterday, we did tap on overbought territories on the daily chart, but on the 1 hour chart and pretty much all the other volumes, time frames rather, we were overbought. Plain and simple, we were simply overbought, right? But on the bright side, today with this move, we have officially exited overbought territories. My favorite one usually is the 1 hour chart. So you can see entered overbought territories, came down, pretty much reverted right back to the mean, bounced off to perfection almost. And then something I updated my members on, obviously pretty much all morning as we were doing it. Where is it? I think it's, that's 1 day ago, right here, right? We pretty much came right down to it and bounced off of it so far and are holding roughly around that. So the stock in the 1 hour has essentially been reset, which is, nice to see. But again, the way you usually want these to happen is you want 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So you get overbought, come back, reset, ideally hold above the white line like this. And then maybe consolidate another day, potentially maybe Thursday. And then maybe Friday or next week, we move up again and move up again. And then again, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward. That's usually the way it works. Obviously, you have anomalies like, for instance, NVIDIA that pretty much just only go up with hardly any pullback. But even NVIDIA, you can see as it gets overbought, it does eventually come back to the mean, though because everything is elevating so hard that its reversion back to the mean is essentially just going sideways for a couple of days. So obviously it's not perfect, but on Tesla has been pretty darn good, right? And that's kind of what happened so far. But the way I look at it is this: I think Tesla is still bullish. I really do. Obviously, the daily chart, in my opinion, still looks great, right? I mean, you have the MACD still flip bullish, right? We have the RSI still looking solid. The stochastic still pointing straight up, still has momentum going, which is good. I don't know. The daily chart looks pretty darn good to me. I mean, pretty much the thing the bulls want to be looking for right now to really break out and continue our move up to about this 198 to 205 level is a break above this green trend line, which has been rejecting us for the past couple of days. So essentially above this green trend line, which is currently sitting at on Thursday at about 188, 189, something like that. Or if you want to be extra safe, honestly, a break above a break above 191 will be a more of a safe, confirmation, if you will, that we are moving at the very least up to about this 198 region, if not all the way up here to 205. I personally think it will happen. Whether or not in the short, like really short term, like a couple of days short term, we get our pullback down even further, which I'll talk about, is still kind of the question that's up in the air. It's still a possibility. Again, I'll mention why I think that is very, very soon. But looking at the daily chart, looking at that slightly longer picture, looking at like maybe a few weeks out, maybe like a month out, I think Tesla still looks pretty darn solid. I think it's still going to move higher. It's just whether or not we get that very short-term pullback or not, especially considering we're pumping on higher volume and we're not dumping necessarily, but we're having these red days on, well, slightly lower volume today, which is, again, a positive to see. Again, also don't forget, we have, of course, we have the 50-day moving average, this green trend line, not trend line, but this green line all the way down here. Obviously, we're well above it. Great. We have the 100-day moving average, bounced off of it to yesterday and the day before. Great. 21 EMA also bounced off of it yesterday and the day before that. Great, right? So we're bouncing off all these pretty important factors, right? And of course, we're if I go back to the markets, market bias, still bullish and green, which is great. The band's regression, you can see this white line here is essentially the 20-day moving average. I think it's like 23, but close enough, right? Pretty much bouncing right off of it almost to perfection. So we're about above all of these pretty damn important, moving averages essentially, and EMAs and all and whatnot. So it's a good sign. Tesla is in a good position here, in my opinion, to move higher. It's just, again, whether or not do we get this little bit of a move down lower to about 180, 181. Now, let's talk about that. Why do I think there's a potential that we might move a little bit lower down to about 180, 181? Well, there's a chance that we're playing out this very small intraday, not really intraday, but very short-term time frame, 15-minute bear flag, where we had this massive rally up here. But then we had a fall. We fell from here all the way down to about this 182 region, and now we're potentially making a bit of a potential bear flag, and so far we're kind of dancing around between this 0.382 and this 0.5 Fibonacci levels. And as long as we dance around these two levels and we don't breach at least this 0.5 Fibonacci level, ideally the 0.618, which is about 186.3 stock price, this technically could be a very small bear flag. But that's why I say, if we do drop even further, it's very small. It's only going to last a couple of days, like at the very most a week, but I'd be surprised if it lasts more than a few days. And all that's really going to do is come back down and bring us down a little bit further, which is going to be pretty much that 4-hour mean reversion, which is going to take us down as it slowly catches up with us, maybe Friday, maybe Thursday even, who knows, right? Which will kind of meet in the middle somewhere around 180. Now, what else is important about that 180 number? Well, that 180 number is of course going to be the max pain for Tesla for I don't know what's not showing it. It's being weird. Anyway, I don't know why it's not showing it. It's kind of being, maybe because the market closed, I'm not sure. But essentially the max pain for options for Tesla for this Friday is $180 per share. And that's potentially, where we roughly might head to by Friday. That is a potential. It doesn't mean we have to, but there's some things that are aligning that I just mentioned that, would kind of make sense for it to do that. So we'll see if that actually happens or not. But don't be too shocked if we do kind of tread lower Thursday and Friday, potentially, as we make our way to fully reset the 4-hour chart, potentially fully reset the daily chart, come back down to about 180. Max pain is there as well. Play out this very small, tiny bear flag on the 15-minute chart that I just showed. And again, I think from there, all it's going to be is just another opportunity. And I think from there, as long as we continue holding the low 180s and extremely high 170s, I really do believe that Tesla ultimately will break above this trend line, will break above these levels here, and ultimately make its way up to about $198 to $205 per share sometime in June or maybe July. Like maybe early to mid-July. I don't know is when. Time frame is always impossible. I have no idea when it'll happen, but I feel fairly decently confident that it will. That's the way I look at it personally as of right now. In terms of options flow, right? In terms of bought options on Black Box over here, 1 million call did come in, 180 strike for July 19th, which is always nice to see. Otherwise, nothing too crazy that really caught my eye. But the one thing that did catch my eye over here on Cheddar Flow for options sold is going to be here, right? We have this 150 strike option sold below the bid September 20th, $16 million in premium for 150 strikes. So very, very, very in the money on this sell, on this call sell by this whale. So I'm not gonna lie, it's a kind of bearish and a little bit head scratchy, right? I mean, are they just selling this because they think Tesla is not gonna go much higher than like pretty much $200 per share, roughly, we'll say, right? Like 190 to $200 per share, or or what exactly are they expecting here, right? I wish I knew the thought process. Again, that's why even with this, you still want to take options with a bit of grain of salt. You don't know the full picture. You don't know exactly what's happening. And the thing with this sometimes is the part that's confusing with options sold is the fact that if I go over here and I set this exact same thing, right, below the bid / at the bid, which is essentially options being sold, the difference here is the fact that is this an actual option sell? So in other words, is it a writing? Are they writing this contract? Or was this a call that someone was holding that they literally just sold? They exited the position. Because sometimes when you have a bid or below the bid, it could also be that they're exiting the position. That's the part I'm not entirely sure about. Maybe if someone's more knowledgeable than me regarding this, they can maybe comment down below about it. But you can see it up here as well, right? It's a below the bid. So maybe they're just exiting. Maybe they had these calls, 150 strike for September 20th, but they exited it, which, I mean, technically is still bearish because they're still exiting calls, but maybe less bearish. I don't know. So that's just kind of, eyebrow raising. So let me know how you maybe think about it down below in the comment section. Maybe people that are more knowledgeable specifically in these kind of, option chains than myself. But regardless, thought I'd bring it up anyways. And, just something to kind of, think about, if you will. So we'll see how that plays out. But regardless, just strictly looking at technical analysis, I still think Tesla looks pretty solid. And don't forget, the market is closed tomorrow. There'll be no video. The market will be obviously closed, like I said. So that's, important to understand. But ultimately, if you look at it on the weekly chart, let's remove all the drawings for now, right? It's pretty simple. Actually, I'll bring back the drawings because it shows kind of important things here. Let me go ahead and remove this, however. Right, you can see on the weekly chart we have pretty important levels, right? We pretty much want to go ahead and close a weekly candle above this kind of 186, we'll say, to 191 region. If we can close candles above that, that would be really, really good. And I think that would be pretty nice to look on the weekly candles as well to make a move higher as we break out of this range that we've been pretty much trapped in for quite some time now, for several weeks in a row. So ultimately, that's the way I look at it. I think Tesla looks pretty good right now. Just needs a bit more follow through. And I think 200-ish should be pretty manageable, honestly. So we'll see. But that's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm seeing. So let me know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching. No video tomorrow. Market is closed. So I'll see you all back on Thursday. So until then, peace.